Exodus 1. When Jacob went to Egypt, his son Joseph was already there. So Jacob took his 11 other sons and their families. They were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Altogether, Jacob had 70 children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren who went with him. After Joseph, his brothers, and everyone else in that generation had died, the people of Israel became so numerous that the whole region of Goshen was full of them. Many years later, a new king came to power. He did not know what Joseph had done for Egypt, and he told the Egyptians,
"There are too many of those Israelites in our country, and they are becoming more powerful than we are. If we don't outsmart them, their families will keep growing larger. And if our country goes to war, they could easily fight on the side of our enemies and escape from Egypt."
The Egyptians put slave bosses in charge of the people of Israel and tried to wear them down with hard work. Those bosses forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramesses, where the king could store his supplies. But even though the Israelites were mistreated, their families grew larger, and they took over more land. Because of this, the Egyptians hated them worse than before, and made them work so hard that their lives were miserable. The Egyptians were cruel to the people of Israel, and forced them to make bricks and to mix mortar and to work in the fields. Finally, the king called in Shiphrah and Puah, the two women who helped the Hebrew mothers when they gave birth. He told them,
"If a Hebrew woman gives birth to a girl, let the child live. If the baby is a boy, kill him."
But the two women were faithful to God and did not kill the boys, even though the king had told them to. The king called them in again and asked,
"Why are you letting those baby boys live?"
They answered,
"Hebrew women have their babies much quicker than Egyptian women. By the time we arrive, their babies are already born."
God was good to the two women because they truly respected him, and he blessed them with children of their own. The Hebrews kept increasing, until finally the king gave a command to everyone in the nation. As soon as a Hebrew boy is born, throw him into the Nile River, but you can let the girls live. Exodus 2. A man from the Levi tribe married a woman from the same tribe, and she later had a baby boy. He was a beautiful child, and she kept him inside for 3 months. But when she could no longer keep him hidden, she made a basket out of reeds and covered it with tar. She put him in the basket and placed it in the tall grass along the edge of the Nile River. The baby's older sister stood off at a distance to see what would happen to him. About that time, one of the king's daughters came down to take a bath in the river, while her servant women walked along the riverbank. She saw the basket in the tall grass and sent one of the young women to pull it out of the water. When the king's daughter opened the basket, she saw the baby and felt sorry for him because he was crying. She said,
"This must be one of the Hebrew babies."
At once, the baby's older sister came up and asked,
"Do you want me to get a Hebrew woman to take care of the baby for you?"
"Yes,"
the king's daughter answered. So the girl brought the baby's mother, and the king's daughter told her,
"Take care of this child, and I will pay you."
The baby's mother carried him home and took care of him, and when he was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter who adopted him. She named him Moses because she said,
"I pulled him out of the water."
After Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were hard at work, and he saw an Egyptian beating one of them. Moses looked around to see if anyone was watching. Then he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. When Moses went out the next day, he saw 2 Hebrews fighting. So he went to the man who had started the fight and asked,
"Why are you beating up one of your own people?"
The man answered,
"Who put you in charge of us and made you our judge? Are you planning to kill me, just as you killed that Egyptian?"
This frightened Moses because he was sure that people must have found out what had happened. When the king heard what Moses had done, the king wanted to kill him, but Moses escaped and went to the land of Midian. One day, Moses was sitting there by a well when the 7 daughters of Jethro, the priest of Midian, came up to water their father's sheep and goats. Some shepherds tried to chase them away, but Moses came to their rescue and watered their animals. When Jethro's daughters returned home, their father asked,
"Why have you come back so early today?"
They answered,
"An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds, and he even watered our sheep and goats."
"Where is he?"
Jethro asked.
"Why did you leave him out there? Invite him to eat with us."
Moses agreed to stay on with Jethro, who later let his daughter Zipporah marry Moses. And when she had a son, Moses said,
I will name him Gershom, since I am a foreigner in this country.
After the death of the king of Egypt, the Israelites still complained because they were forced to be slaves. They cried out for help, and God heard their loud cries. He did not forget the promise he had made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and because he knew what was happening to his people, he felt sorry for them. Exodus 3. One day, Moses was taking care of the sheep and goats of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian, and Moses decided to lead them across the desert to Sinai, the holy mountain. There an angel of the Lord appeared to him from a burning bush. Moses saw that the bush was on fire, but it was not burning up.
This is strange,
he said to himself.
I'll go over and see why the bush isn't burning up.
When the Lord saw Moses coming near the bush, he called him by name, and Moses answered,
Here I am.
God replied,
Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals. The ground where you are standing is holy. I am the God who was worshipped by your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Moses was afraid to look at God, and so he hid his face. The Lord said,
I have seen how my people are suffering as slaves in Egypt, and I have heard them beg for my help because of the way they are being mistreated. I feel sorry for them, and I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians. I will bring my people out of Egypt into a country where there is good land, rich with milk and honey. I will give them the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. My people have begged for my help, and I have seen how cruel the Egyptians are to them. Now go to the king. I am sending you to lead my people out of his country.
But Moses said,
Who am I to go to the king and lead your people out of Egypt?
God replied,
I will be with you, and you will know that I am the one who sent you, when you worship me on this mountain after you have led my people out of Egypt.
Moses answered,
I will tell the people of Israel that the God their ancestors worshipped has sent me to them. But what should I say if they ask me your name?
God said to Moses,
I am the eternal God, so tell them that the Lord, whose name is I Am, has sent you. This is my name forever, and it is the name that people must use from now on. Call together the leaders of Israel and tell them that the God who was worshipped by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has appeared to you. Tell them, I have seen how terribly they are being treated in Egypt, and I promise to lead them out of their troubles. I will give them a land rich with milk and honey, where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. The leaders of Israel will listen to you. Then you must take them to the king of Egypt and say, The Lord God of the Hebrews has appeared to us. Let us walk 3 days into the desert, where we can offer a sacrifice to him. But I know that the king of Egypt won't let you go unless something forces him to. So I will use my mighty power to perform all kinds of miracles and strike down the Egyptians. Then the king will send you away. After I punish the Egyptians, they will be so afraid of you that they will give you anything you want. You are my people, and I will let you take many things with you when you leave the land of Egypt. Every Israelite woman will go to her Egyptian neighbors or to any Egyptian woman living in her house. She will ask them for gold and silver jewelry and for their finest clothes. the Egyptians will give them to you, and you will put these fine things on your sons and daughters. You will carry all this away when you leave Egypt.
Exodus 4. Moses asked the Lord,
Suppose everyone refuses to listen to my message, and no one believes that you really appeared to me.
The Lord answered,
What's that in your hand?
A walking stick.
Moses replied.
Throw it down,
the Lord commanded. So Moses threw the stick on the ground. It immediately turned into a snake, and Moses jumped back.
Pick it up by the tail,
the Lord told him. And when Moses did this, the snake turned back into a walking stick.
Do this,
the Lord said,
and the Israelites will believe that you have seen me, the God who was worshipped by their ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Next, the Lord commanded Moses,
Put your hand inside your shirt.
Moses obeyed, and when he took it out, his hand had turned white as snow, like someone with leprosy.
Put your hand back inside your shirt,
the Lord told him. Moses did so, and when he took it out again, it was as healthy as the rest of his body. Then the Lord said,
If no one believes either of these miracles, take some water from the Nile River and pour it on the ground. The water will immediately turn into blood.
Moses replied,
I have never been a good speaker. I wasn't one before you spoke to me, and I'm not one now. I am slow at speaking, and I can never think of what to say.
But the Lord answered,
Who makes people able to speak, or makes them deaf or unable to speak? Who gives them sight, or makes them blind? Don't you know that I am the one who does these things? Now go. When you speak, I will be with you, and give you the words to say.
Moses begged,
Lord, please send someone else to do it.
The Lord became irritated with Moses and said,
What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he is a good speaker. He is already on his way here to visit you, and he will be happy to see you again. Aaron will speak to the people for you, and you will be like me, telling Aaron what to say. I will be with both of you as you speak, and I will tell each of you what to do. Now, take this walking stick and use it to perform miracles.
Moses went to his father-in-law Jethro and asked,
Please let me return to Egypt to see if any of my people are still alive.
All right,
Jethro replied.
I hope all goes well.
But even before this, the Lord had told Moses,
Leave the land of Midian and return to Egypt. Everyone who wanted to kill you is dead.
So Moses put his wife and sons on donkeys and headed for Egypt, holding the walking stick that had the power of God. On the way, the Lord said to Moses,
When you get to Egypt, go to the king and work the miracles I have shown you. But I will make him so stubborn that he will refuse to let my people go. Then tell him that I have said, Israel is my firstborn son, and I commanded you to release him so he could worship me. But you refused, and now I will kill your firstborn son.
One night, while Moses was in camp, the Lord was about to kill him. But Zipporah circumcised her son with a flint knife. She touched his legs with the skin she had cut off and said,
My dear son, this blood will protect you.
So the Lord did not harm Moses. Then Zipporah said,
Yes, my dear, you are safe because of this circumcision.
The Lord sent Aaron to meet Moses in the desert. So Aaron met Moses at Mount Sinai and greeted him with a kiss. Moses told Aaron what God had sent him to say. He also told him about the miracles God had given him the power to perform. Later they brought together the leaders of Israel, and Aaron told them what the Lord had sent Moses to say. Then Moses worked the miracles for the people, and everyone believed. They bowed down and worshiped the Lord, because they knew that he had seen their suffering and was going to help them.